Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today we are talking about Jurassic World Rebirth. I had the opportunity to see this movie early at the Monday night secret screening. This was such a cool experience because I can't recall ever being able to see a movie this far in advance of the release day and this far before the review embargo drops. And as far as the review embargo goes, I am not under any review embargo, so I can post a video like this, just to be clear. Before I continue on, be sure to hit that subscribe button and give the video a thumbs up. It is a great help. And also be sure to check out my letterbox where I'm very active. Jurassic World Rebirth was one of my most anticipated movies of the year, despite being severely disappointed with Dominion from a few years ago. And what I will say is that thankfully this movie didn't disappoint me like that film did, because it gave me exactly what I wanted with a bunch of fun sequences involving the dinosaurs. But as a movie, it's fine. It's fairly sad to see that not a single one of the Jurassic sequels even remotely lives up to the original. I'd still say that the first Jurassic World remains easily the best out of all of the sequels. At least that film knew what it was and that it was silly and it went with it. The original Jurassic Park holds such a special place in my heart. It is my second favorite movie of all time and is one of the films I am most nostalgic about. So, it's not necessarily fair to compare every Jurassic movie to how high I regard the original, but it is something I can't help, and it is a shame that I don't think any of the sequels are even on the same level. So, despite me being really disappointed with Dominion, I couldn't help but be excited for Rebirth, mainly because David Koepp was returning as the screenwriter, and he was one of the co-writers of the original, and it also had Gareth Edwards signing on as the director, and then big stars like Scarlett Johansson and Mahershala Ali also joined the cast. So, while this does deliver on plenty of cool dino action, it leaves me feeling a little hollow and scratching my head at how so many talented people can lead to a fairly unmemorable and lacking story. I'll try and keep this review short in general, but I'll start off with my positives. I think Gareth Edwards is easily the biggest star of this film because this is one of the best looking Jurassic films, as well as having very solid direction, especially with the direction being head and shoulders above Dominion and Fallen Kingdom. Edwards' direction gives the dinosaurs scale again and brings a sort of monster movie feel to it. A lot of the recent Jurassic movies haven't really made the dinosaurs feel as big as they really are, and this one you really feel how huge these creatures are. And there are, of course, many dinosaur sequences in this film that are really fun and really exciting. There are two standout sequences that rank among the best of the entire franchise, where one of them involves the Mosasaur, Spinosaurus, and the human boat, as well as another sequence involving the river raft with a T-Rex. Those are two of the most fun sequences in the entire franchise. There are plenty of other fun scenes as well, but those are definitely the two standouts. I would also say the pacing of the film is fairly solid as well. I wouldn't say I was ever bored, but I also wouldn't necessarily say I was completely engaged and locked in at every moment either. It's just fairly solid pacing. In a thumbs up or thumbs down world, this is a thumbs up movie for me simply because it's very cinematic, and it did meet my expectations, but the film is also very flawed, which holds it back from being one of the better Jurassic films. It is probably closer to The Lost World in terms of how it presents its story, with action spectacle ranking as more important than the rest of the film. But I would also say that I think I like The Lost World a little more because I think Spielberg just knows how to handle these kinds of sequences better than Edwards does. And Gareth Edwards does a great job here too with these fun dino scenes. It's just hard to compare anyone to how Spielberg handles action sequences. For me, the biggest disappointment of Jurassic World Rebirth is David Koepp's screenplay. Especially considering this was one of the big selling points for me in my excitement. The characters are paper thin. Some plot elements are fairly stupid, and the film doesn't really use its concepts all that well. It doesn't blunder a brilliant premise like Dominion did, but it doesn't use the concepts of mutation or dinosaurs dying out because of the environment all that well at all. It's very much brushed to the side. You'd think that something really interesting with the script would have drawn Scarlett Johansson and Mahershala Ali to it, but I guess not, because I couldn't really tell you any of the characteristics of these people. The best character is Jonathan Bailey's character, but he's also fairly unmemorable. There's also this family side of the characters, which I didn't dislike all that much. I'm seeing a lot of people really complain about them. I didn't dislike them that much, but they do take up way too much of the screen time, and the boyfriend character was really annoying. There's a bit of a setup of how they might go with this character's arc, but they don't really do anything with it. This character does one thing that makes the dad feel like, oh, maybe I don't dislike him all that much. But that's really early on in the movie, and then the rest of the movie is just him goofing off and being lazy. There are also some elements of the plot setup and in the plot itself that are just unnecessarily weird. For example, the opening scene involves a Snickers bar rapper doing something that could have easily been written to be something that actually made sense, but they had a Snickers bar do like a Final Destination Rube Goldberg kind of mess up to this lab, and that felt really unnecessary. I don't want to go too far into other plot stuff because I don't want to spoil anything in particular because the movie's not even out yet, but that's sort of an example as to how some of the things within the plot end up. The concept of the film is also just really simple and doesn't really work all that well. The main plot involves going to this island where 3 large species reside that the crew needs DNA from for medical purposes. And that's really it. From there, it's basically a very minor character moment to keep the plot moving, followed by dinosaur scene and repeat. It works for the flow of the movie, but it doesn't necessarily make for the most engaging film. And then there's also the concepts of mutant dinosaurs that I think were kind of just a tangential element to this film. The Mutodon creatures could have been really just raptors, and nothing in the movie would have changed. And the D-Rex mutant, that's pretty much only in one scene at the end of the film and very minor part of the opening, could have also been just a more interesting looking actual carnivorous dino instead of a mutant. So I feel like they kind of wasted what could have been a really interesting sort of horror element to the film. But instead, these creatures are sort of just there for the sake of it. Ultimately, this film is one that I left the theater feeling pretty solid about, but upon letting it settle, there are just too many things that make me scratch my head in mild disappointment. I wish for once one of these Jurassic sequels could even match half of the depth of the first. So despite all of my complaints about this movie, I do think this is a fun film to watch in a theater. I will say, however, that I would definitely recommend going to see F1, How to Train Your Dragon, and the upcoming Superman or Fantastic Four movies above this film, though. That'll be it for this short review. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Stay tuned for videos on Superman and Fantastic Four in July. Okay, bye.
If it is to be said, so it is.